Welcome back to part 3 of my Vegas tutorial series. We're going to continue from where we left off last time, and today we're going to look at some very useful functions when you're making your video, and also we're going to have a look at the timeline. In most of these video editors there's a timeline system that has a top-down approach, so each track that you have here is like a pyramid, with the topmost track being the most visible in the order that they come, so that by the time you get to the very bottom level it may well be obscured by all of the previous tracks. In this case we have our graphic, above which we have text, and then above that we have our green screen effect. Now, because we've got a green screen and we've set the chroma key, we can actually see the other levels below it. If there was no chroma key, all we would actually see would be the green screen. Now, the linear effect of this is we start from 0 on the left side and it goes across the top there. This is actually the timeline, and depending on how much you scroll in and out, so if you scroll right the way in, you can go right down to milliseconds, right the way down to, basically as far as it will go, or you can zoom all the way out. The timeline on the timeline system, obviously going from left to right, you can have the scroll bars that you can move, and you can actually go to an area where there is nothing at present time. Obviously you need to be able to see where you are, so if you were all the way down here, there is no real quick way to get back, but you can just scroll in the usual way, or you can just click the scroll bar to go back. Now, the cursor, which is this device here, which is the thing will show you where you are in the video. You tend to, if you scroll in, you'll tend to default to that particular area. So if you want to scroll over here, then you need to click the cursor, which allows you then to scroll into that particular area. And I'm actually always forgetting this, so if I want to scroll onto the beach section there, I have to first of all click on it. Otherwise I find myself going over here, and I then have to scroll using the scroll bar, which is a bit annoying. So it's just a case of remembering to click first before you scroll in. Now, there is a highlighting system, so you can go up to the top and drag with your mouse button, and you can actually highlight an area. Now, when you come to render, which we'll look at, you can decide to render the whole video, or you can just do why you would want to do that, I don't know, but you can do a part of it. There's a very useful thing that you can do with this, which is once you've highlighted your video, or rather you can select the video to the project, and then if you go to the end yellow tab on the end here, you can see how long your video will be, and it's 59 seconds and 8.8. Now, there are some useful things that you can do with your track. All of these things here, we can do motion blur, we can do some frame track motion, so we can animate the track on a track basis rather than an individual basis, because you can do the same thing with an individual item. You could animate it. As the effects tab for the track, obviously you can do individuals as well. Automation settings, well, I've never actually used that, so I don't really know if it's going to be any good to you as a beginner. Now you can actually turn off a particular track, so if you're working with something and you want to just see that particular track, you can turn off that track so it doesn't appear. And finally, this one over here, you can do the opposite, which is have this track on its own, so it will unhighlight the other tracks, so all you can see is that one track. The transparency level, so if you have it 100%, obviously you can make it non-transparent, so basically you can't see it, or anywhere in between. I can't see the relevance of that, but you could, I suppose you could animate a track fade in, I don't know. Compositing, this is all about the transparency. Depending on whether the tracks below it are visible, so this, you can set this so you can see the other tracks below it as like a see-through sort of track. Making a parent, so you can group them together. I've never used these items so far. And making it a child. Now, as far as the video tracks are concerned, those ones that we've just talked about, the audio tracks are slightly different. So you could, if you had a microphone attached, you could record directly into your video that you've got, so you could set up your video, and if you want to narrate over the top, you could actually record it directly into Vegas, which is quite useful. You can turn it off, you can have it alone, okay. And then this one here is quite useful for the dB, reducing the actual volume of the dB for the track rather than the individual item. So okay, now if you look over the top right hand side, you'll see that there's the master volume has gone into red, meaning it's too loud, and you'll find that will cause distortion on your final video. So what I tend to do is I leave the master setting as it is, okay, and I work with the individual tracks, because sometimes you have an audio clip that is just too loud. Now if you click on the track volume slider, you can actually reduce it by 0.123, or you can do it for whole numbers. So 1, and of course you can move it using your mouse, or you can actually type in a number, so -2. So now if we watch the top right hand side again, and okay, it's gone to 0 in red, which is quite a strange phenomenon. However, you could actually just reduce it by a 0.1 again, and again it goes up. I haven't worked out how it actually does it, but sometimes it does it whole numbers and sometimes it does it 0.1. Okay, so let's have a minus 2.1 this time, and now it's going to the it's very annoying, so let's do 2.5. Okay, it's probably because I'm not doing the right track. I should look at the screen really. It's this one here that's going too loud. Again, it's on 0, so we can actually reduce that by 1. So it would help if I actually looked at the track that I was dealing with, but there you go. Right, let's try that again. Oh my goodness me. I should have left it where it was. Let's try that. There we go, and that's perfect now. So we have volume that's not going clipping, so you won't get any distortion, and we can adjust all of this with the volume controls here. Again, I've not used that, so that's the automation. I've no idea what that does, though we shan't worry about that. Now, for individual volume, there is another way that you can change it, so you don't have to change the whole track, because you might just have one particular item which is too loud. What you can do is you can change the volume on that by going to the top of the clip and then dragging down the gain control. Now you can see that's 3.2, or rather it's minus 3.2, so that when you play that, yeah, you can see that that volume is now quite low, and we can reduce it down all the way down to the bottom there. So you have a lot of choice to be able to control how it comes out, and obviously if you then remember from the previous example with the fading in of the video, you can do the same thing with audio, in the fact that you can click on the side there and it changes into a sort of a triangle shape. You can actually drag and it will fade in. So depending on how much time you have, so that's 1.07 seconds. And you can see it fades in quite nicely. So that's a fade in, and obviously we have the volume control. We can control it from here on the track. There is obviously the master control, which is the master volume control right over here, which I tend to leave as default here, because then you get the you can adjust individual tracks and individual clips. What we have here, we've put in this clip from last time, if you remember. I was actually thinking that it's quite slow, isn't it? It's really sort of not very, oh my goodness me, we'll be here all day. So I thought we might show you some very useful tips regarding the speed. So slowing down and speeding up. So let's have another clip. Let's find another clip. What should we have? Let's see. We can do a Asian stock video. So let's put that into the project. And again, there's no audio with this, so we can actually remove the audio. Remember, that's U and then delete. Now this video sort of ambles along very, very slowly. We got a very nice zoom in there. Okay, good. Now, so we actually want this to go a bit quicker. What we're going to do is make this 50% faster, so around about halfway. So if we look at that, that's about there. So we'll go to the end, and whilst we're clicking and dragging, we're going to hold the control key down and drag it to about halfway. So hopefully now we look at the properties of this, right click and properties. You can say that the playback rate is 1.942, compared to what it normally is, which is 1. So now if we view it, we play it, it should go 1.942 quicker. So it does go a little bit quicker. I actually think we could make it go faster. Yeah. Let's try it again then, and we'll make it a bit faster. So click and drag, hold the control key, make it a little bit faster. There. Right, let's try that. And it's zooming in really fast. There we go. Oh wow, there we go. Perfect. Now let's put that back to where we were, which is there. So likewise, we can double this and we can slow it right the way down. So it's actually quite really slow. So again, but this time we go the other way. So hold the control key and drag so it make it bigger. So there we are. Now this will probably be really, really slow. Yeah, mind-blowingly slow. As you can see, the effect works, and if we check the properties, you'll see that this is now the playback rate of 0.2290. If you put in there 0.5, that will give you half speed. Half whatever speed it was. Now what you'll find is, because we've stretched this video and then we've changed the properties of it, you'll find that you'll have a little clip here out of the top of the track. This is actually where the video begins again. So what it does, it will loop around, because our stretch is way too big. What we have is where the video finishes there, it then goes back to the beginning again. Now what we could do technically is either drag it so it's smaller, or just delete the extra bit so we don't need that. And the video clip itself is now half speed. Really, really slow. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you'll come back again very soon for another episode. See you soon. Bye.